Hi everyone, my name is Shashi Jain. I'm an IoT Innovation Manager with Intel Corporation. What I do is pathfinding on our Internet of Things products like the Edison module, the Curie module. Basically, we use design thinking to come up with new use cases. I'm also blessed to have been able to marry my passions with my day job, and that's what I'm going to talk about here today. So I'm really passionate about 3D printing, and I've also been a long-time volunteer with the e-NABLE community that produces 3D printed hands. So what's amazing is that this technology is just a couple of years old, and there's been some amazing things that have really come out of this. So what I'd like to do is tell you the story of 3D printed hands as well as my story along with it. All right. So it actually doesn't start that long ago. This technology is about 4 years old. It started with this gentleman, Richard Van As, who is a South African carpenter, and he lost 4 fingers in a, let's just say, a carpentry accident. He's not one to be stopped by such a thing, so he saw on YouTube this gentleman named Ivan Owen, who, funny enough, is in Bellingham, Washington, which is about 2.5 hours north of where I live in Portland, Oregon. Ivan is known as an inventor and as a puppeteer, and he was building these wonderful hands for cosplaying, and this is what they look like. You pull them individually, pull the fingers closed with your fingers. So Richard said, if you can do this, you can give me back my fingers. And so they started collaborating online. And what's amazing about this is that they came up with a finger working in several different time zones. So this is a picture of the actual finger that they produced. And it's made with thermoplastics that have been molded around the hand and an erector set. So that's what all of these, the metal pieces are made out of. So like anything else, they posted this on YouTube, and pretty soon Liam's mother saw that video. And what's amazing is she came in and said, you made a finger for yourselves, can you make a hand for my son? And what's going on here is Liam has this, was born with amniotic band syndrome. It's a condition that affects 1 in 2,400 live births. And what happens is tissue in the womb cuts off blood supply to limbs, and they don't develop. So you can see here on his right hand, he's missing digits, all of his digits. So Ivan and Richard, being in 2 separate time zones, said, why not? We can make this happen. We can give this child a hand, quite literally. And so they did. They built this first generation prosthetic hand. And it's an amazing piece of work and collaboration over several time zones here. But it had one fatal problem. It's made out of metal. You don't give a 3-year-old a metal hand because they're going to poke their eye out, right? So what do? They had this key insight that they needed to be a material that is easy to use and easy to easy to iterate on. And they had the key insight that 3D printing is a solution. And so what's really amazing about this is that not only were they able to work across time zones, but they were using very simple tools to do it. Before they were using a machine shop, this hand was developed in a very primitive tool called OpenSCAD. So all of these were parametrically designed in some of the tools that we know, but it was designed in open source. They iterated on these 3 hands at the same time it took to make the one metal hand. So what happened? This happened. So it's an amazing thing when you can give back give a child back his grip. It's a smile is what they were going after, and when you see that what they're able to do, it really changes the child. But they did one more thing. They decided to open source this hand. And so this became the first generation hand called the Robo Hand. And when they open sourced it, many other people were able to take their own interpretation, build their own versions, make it bigger, make it better. And What's cool is this hand used to cost about $2,000 simply because you had to buy a 3D printer to make this thing at all. But as in with anything 3D printing related, once you have content, people are going to print it, right? So they put this up on Thingiverse, and pretty soon Dr. John Shull at the RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, saw this and dedicated all of his 3D printers to making hands to anyone who needed them. And pretty soon he had hundreds of people working with him, dedicating their printers. I joined when there were about 100 people, and I put all my 3D printers towards making hands. Today there's 7,500 people doing this worldwide. People who are making hands, people who are designing them, people who are delivering them and fitting them to to anyone who needs them. So I told you, there's 7,500 people, they're creative. Pretty soon the cost came way down. This is a second generation hand, right here. It works by body motion. Palm goes in here. This part is called the gauntlet. It is strapped to the forearm, and you use wrist motion to open and close this device. This costs $55 simply because it has so much metal hardware in it. Most of the fasteners themselves are stainless steel and cost a lot of money. This one also has leather in it too, so you have to be a leather worker to make this particular one. Creighton University made another hand called the Cyborg Beast, which brought this cost down even further because it used less expensive hardware. And pretty soon, it started cascading. There's been, that was a third generation hand. This is the fourth generation hand. This is a hand called the Raptor Reloaded, based on all the learnings from the previous hands. A Autodesk employee named Andreas Bastian picked it up, put all the models in Fusion 360, made it parametric. Hundreds of these hands have been produced all over the world today, and it's $5 worth of plastic. But when corporations get involved, interesting things happen. They put their design talent on. They bring the the corporate community service groups into the fray, and what you get are really advanced designs. So Evan Kuster at 3D Systems developed the K1. This hand is really lightweight. It's very it looks very organic. Looks very advanced. It looks like something that you'd want to wear. This is the Flexi arm. This is made out of a flexible material, out of TPU, and it happens to be skin colored. This one was developed by Stephen Davies in the UK. Started with a hand that was posted on Thingiverse as a puppet. Again, something about puppeteers and inventors, being attracted to this group. Studio Fathom got involved and made an arm for Isabella. This design is available right now, and it can be adapted to any length. And I don't know if you've seen this, but as soon as arms and hands became available, people said, well, why should they be plain? Why shouldn't we dress them up? And so the first set of superhero hands started coming out. Team Limitless released the Iron Man hand, and they got Iron Man himself to deliver the very first one. This one's a myoelectric powered hand, a whole arm as well. And you can see Robert Downey Jr. has his Iron Man costume on for this one. So what happens when you deliver an Iron Man hand? Open up all the properties. Now they're delivering these hands as part of Open Bionics. Open Bionics is delivering these hands as part of their portfolio. It's a $500 hand made for kids in the properties that are being put out there. It's an amazing thing to see over the course of the last year how much of this stuff has happened. My employer, Intel, has also gotten into this as well. We had a competition called Make It Wearable, and we took that company, Open Bionics, which makes those Disney hands, and we helped them power it with our processors. So the hand contains an Intel Quark microprocessor and is powered by myoelectrics. That's what sensors are on the back of the model here. So it's amazing to see all these things that are coming out. My particular story started actually with a tweet. I dedicated my printers, and then I was going around looking for one for a match. It was a really awkward thing, looking for a match for someone who needed a hand. But I found one, and it happened. So one thing that I've learned from this is just how transformative this technology really is. It's not just about giving a person back a limb. It really transforms the recipient. This guy, Jordan, he was a PSU student. When he got his limb, he was thinking, this would really change things for me. I could use my hand. I can become. He actually wanted to become he wanted to work at a coffee shop, and be a barista. And he thought he'd be able to do that. Instead, he pitched a business that had a buy one give one model for these hands. So he proposed that you pay for the price of an Xbox, you can get a hand for yourself, and you can donate one for someone else. This is Keegan. He received his first hands, and his fingers were extra long. Totally transformed this kid. When he first came up to me, arm behind him, he wouldn't talk he wouldn't show me. He didn't want any attention drawn to it. But now he has this awesome thing that's not only a conversation starter, it's cool. And it really transformed him. This is Juan. I built an arm for him that was actually powered by the elbow. And Juan was the same way. He didn't want to talk, didn't want to show this difference. But by the time we were done, he was proud that he had something that he could do something about this difference, and that he could engineer new things. By the time when I met him, he was failing in school. He was very shy. By the time we were done, he was making his own hands, and he had gotten into an engineering and sciences academy. It's amazing what it does for the recipients. But it is also transformative for the maker and the giver as well. Take another child who is a Boy Scout who is giving this hand to someone else. So they have these things called handathons where you assemble these hands together. This is the very first one. Look at how he is looking at this thing. It's a transformative thing when you realize that this thing that you make can deeply affect someone's life, one individual's life, so profoundly. And that's what you're seeing here. It's the same way for the parents. I can't tell you the first time, I can't even begin to tell you how it feels when a mother comes to me and says, I have done this to my child. I didn't have any way to help my child, and you've given me a way to help my child. And that's what happened here. We delivered a hand right at a handathon. It's transformative for corporations too. Like I said, I've been able to marry the things that I do at Intel with this work as well. So beyond the donations, beyond the volunteer projects, we help corporations, we help other designers deliver hands to people. So Project Daniel was something we did 3-4 years ago, where we enabled a design group to go off and give a powered arm based on our technology to Daniel, who was missing both limbs on both sides up to the elbow, to the shoulder. Last fall, internally at Intel, we did a handathon. 350 Intel employees built 100 hands, and we shipped them to the e-NABLE group in Haiti. It was really a great way of coming together. Just like you saw the scout coming, looking at the hand as if I made this. Imagine Intel employees doing the same thing. It was really a transformative thing. And one thing that I'm really proud about here is we have 3D printers all over Intel, and we don't print trinkets anymore. We print 3D printed hand parts and make them available to anytime anyone needs them. All right. So in the spirit of design thinking, like I said, that's what I do at Intel. I'm going to tell you what I like here. I like that we have a digital distributed custom manufacturing framework. There's open source tools. In another way of saying it is there's content. There's global volunteers who have built a process to match, to print, to deliver the hands to people all over, anywhere that you can think of. There's an R&D group, a volunteer R&D group pushing the bounds of the hands. That very first one I showed you, that was generation 6 of these hands. And now corporations are getting involved in pushing the boundaries and adding in things like validation and productization. Love that we're doing this, but it's still, what I don't like so much, I wish it worked better. So if you want to get involved, this is how you get involved. Usually someone prints something for you, you get a baggie of parts, and a baggie of strings and hardware and all that, and then you have to be like a Boy Scout to be able to assemble these things into a working, functioning thing. What I think we need is this. We need it to be as simple as making content for YouTube. We start with a tablet. We take a scan of a person who needs a limb, or who needs a hand, and it's got to be as easy as it's suggesting this is what you need. And if you don't like it, well, we got another one for you, right? Imagine what we would be able to do if we were to put this in the hands of that Boy Scout, or anyone else who is a content creator, anyone else who knows that a person who needs a hand. I think it would be an amazing thing. So, I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you for listening to me and my story. And if you'd like to get involved, I have two things for you. First, visit the e-NABLE Community Foundation. If you're a corporation, that's the place you can donate. And if you want to get involved in community events, enablingthefuture.org is the best way. All the best stories about this group are right there. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.